Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Learning Lab podcast with Jay and Nicole. Today is all about parents, and today we're looking into strategies for managing the online learning at home. Joining us today is Brenda Brooks, an early adopter of online learning. She's also the founder of VLE Rock, among one of her many positions. Brenda, we're very happy to have you here today.
Thank you.
Uh,
I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you for joining us today, Brenda. I'm really excited to have you on. I just think you have such a wonderful wealth of knowledge for us to partake, especially for the parents and teachers side. But we'd like to start off with a myth. And one of the myths we're going to be addressing through your questions and answers is kids can't learn effectively at home. They need a classroom to stay focused and succeed academically. This is a very common myth. And I think you are the best person to help us debunk that today. So,
Definitely.
yeah, I think so. I think you have quite the wealth of information for us. And I'm so happy you came online. First of all, I would like to know, just on a personal side here, how did you meet Teacher Jay? How did you guys
In a coaching class, actually. We have a
really?
shared coaching class. Yeah. I've been barely coming in since he joined. I used to go weekly and I don't really go that much but he's always there when I do like pop in because Jillian's actually a friend. So I actually go there to
Very
check
it's
interesting.
everything out.
a It's a very informal, it's almost just like a group where teachers can
Support.
go and just sort out their problems. It's really what it is. It's really, I
Like a
enjoy
teacher's
it.
lounge. I like it too.
Yeah.
It's like a teacher's lounge. It's just
Oh,
like the teacher's
awesome.
lounge. But
That's
so
so cool. No, I was just very interested because Jay is the one who brought you on this time, and I was thinking to myself, how did they meet? So that's very cool. See, even teachers, we meet a lot of our colleagues online as well, just like our students who are online, right?
That's right.
So
definitely.
I'm wondering if maybe you could just share a bit of your background in online education and maybe some of the challenges that you have personally seen some of the parents facing online with their kids.
Well, I'm a parent as well, but luckily, well, not really luckily, but many, many years ago, I didn't have that opportunity. I wish I could have kept my son home instead of dragging him tutor to tutor to tutor for learning. And I've been an offline teacher as well. That's where I originally started in the classroom. Um, so I have been working in education for over 25 years. I don't even want to admit how many years, but online specifically for over 10 years. And there are a lot of it can be very effective if it's done correctly. So that's just what I'm going to say. I think it can be more effective than even the classroom at times.
Interesting. So, um, effective in the class more than the classroom. Um, in what ways? Like what's one
When,
specific one that you could think of?
well, definitely when you're, first of all, when you have to work for a school, you have to be what they want you to be. You have to do their curriculum. You don't listen to the kids. It's not about what they want to learn. It's about what they have to do. And there's consistent interruptions most of the time in a regular classroom. Kids have to go to the bathroom. Kids aren't paying attention. You've got that really highly intelligent boy that's just not going to be quiet. You've got the girl that's super active and social and she wants to talk. So there's a lot of interruptions. So even the workplace, if you're constantly in a workplace that's loud or an area that's loud, there's a lot of things that you're going to miss. And so I think having that online opportunity, if it's done right, I'm not saying it's for everyone, but if it's done correctly, where I believe the best one is a hybrid solution, where I'm actually working with a hybrid solution now that started from Finland. And the kids do go to a center and they have their lessons in a hub and then they meet online. And I'm about team building and speaking and learning to work together because I think we've lost a lot of that socialization. I'm a 70s kid. And because of being digital, a lot of kids have lost the ability to socialize with each other, to talk to each other, to
Oh,
work
yeah.
together with each other. So there's really a need for this type of class where you're encouraging them to do teamwork and breakout rooms and not just depending on what they can find on the phone, but what they can find through each other. So this is the next curriculum that I'm working on. This is another thing Jay and I know each other from too, is because I built curriculum. I started with little foundation curriculum, then I went into interactive stories, and now that I'm also teaching groups, I've developed more now towards the grouping lessons. And I'm finding it very effective. And because these kids have lost things that we had before. What?
I
Just think about a restaurant. I hate to do it, but Nicole, think about a restaurant and look at our teenagers. They're all on the phones and they're sitting at a
Yeah.
table with each other.
Not just the kids, though, the
Now,
parents too.
yes, I know.
Everybody. Their
Mine's on
faces are all
silent.
smashed in their phone. Mine too,
Mine's
always.
are always on silent, like
Always.
always, and it's always upside down. I
Mine
don't
too.
like the
Mine
upside
too.
down and the silent.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's only
Now,
here because I need a calendar that'll remind me. Otherwise I won't
I
need
have
one.
a follow-up for that one. Now, you were talking about how they've lost the ability to socialize. My personal opinion is that it's not just the kids who have caused that problem. I think the parents have because
They grew up
they,
that way.
not that they grew up that way. We have put too much focus on online lessons need to be one-on-one. They do not understand the necessity of the group class and the benefit of it. A lot of them
Not a
don't
huge
think.
group class.
No, I do small groups. But that's what I'm saying is that people think that again, the they need a classroom to stay focused and succeed academically. But I also think that they are talking about here is that they need a classroom to socialize and develop social skills.
Exactly.
Now, I don't agree with that because I'm a homeschool parent. And socialization is not what school is for.
We
School
can
is to
educate
academic.
You can educate them and you can also keep them in line and keep it in a place that encourages them to talk to one another. That
There you
and
go.
I'm a classroom teacher. We didn't teach all 30 at one time. We used to divide you into groups and go group to group to group to group. That's called a heterogeneous group.
Yep.
Anybody that's been trained knows this. A heterogeneous group will be used to build the best kind of teams. And I'm telling you, what you build together is so much better than what we're going to build one on one. Because when we share and we communicate and we brainstorm, the ideas that we can come up with are brilliant. It's just amazing.
So how would
But
you
they
explain
have to
that to
know
a
this.
parent though? Because a lot of them in certain geographical locations, they put a much higher value on the online lessons being one-on-one. They do not believe they learn in the group setting because they're not getting
For
their
yeah.
that
value.
parent, they can do two. They can do 2 lessons a week. Most of my kids have 2 to 3 lessons a week. And even for teachers to transition from the one-on-one to groups as well, because it's better for them, because then they can actually earn a decent living without working 500 hours. Because each one-on-one class, if you're prepping for it, you can do 3 hours for each one lesson. Just like you're in college in every other course. When every
Mhm.
class you want to go in prepared, you have 3 hours outside. I keep trying to explain this to my husband. He doesn't get it. Every 1 hour I'm in the class, I'm outside 3 hours prepping and preparing exactly for that type of lesson.
Exactly. But from a parent's perspective, they could give two figs about how much you're being paid or how much time you're spending. They care about their child. So that's
I
why I'm
want them to
saying,
have 2 lessons. I say
how do
two.
you explain to them that the group lesson is actually more benefit?
Yeah.
It's not only, it depends. Like I said, most of my students are 2 to 3 times a week. I want the one-on-one because the kids they do flourish from one-on-one
Mhm.
individual attention. And if they have 2 lessons a week, one of them can be in the group and one of them can be one-on-one. There's always ways around this. There's always ways to make the parents happy and also to make the kids happy because not all children flourish in groups. Some kids are bullied. Some kids are not very good at socializing. So those are the kids that they also still need that one-on-one. And you have many teachers out there that are willing to do that. I have
So,
one-on-one, I have groups, so I don't just do one. I don't say, hey, I'm only one-on-one. But some kids do flourish one-on-one more than the groups, but not all.
so Brenda, a lot of parents have an idea in their head of what an online class is like, but their memory is from like 10 or 12 years ago. How have you seen it change since then? How have you seen online learning change over the
I've
past
s-
10 years?
I've seen that it's able to reach their needs faster, and there's presentation tools out there that are helping us. One of the presentation tools I use, they can get quizzing immediately. I can look at the analytics. We have game places like WordWall. We also can keep a hold of the analytics. So they can see both sides of it. We can see who's doing their work, who's not doing the work. Everything is more automated. No more pencils and pens. We still use them, but it's not as necessary to analyze everything because we don't have to spend as much time with the correction as it can be automated, like in a way to be automated. So, and from when it first started, it was nothing like that.
Oh,
Everything
it was, I remember doing classes
PDFs.
on
Oh,
you. Well, I still
oh.
use PDFs, but
Well,
I remember
not for
doing
younger, for kids.
phone classes on QQ.
Mm.
I
There's,
remember
And
they,
no
Skype.
video,
yep,
Skype,
yep.
no video classes. I remember
They
doing
still do them
those.
in Korea. That's one of the companies I
Yes.
started with, adult classes for the Koreans on the
Yep.
telephone, 10-minute classes.
Yep.
I thought it
Ah.
was the funniest thing. And it was the best one. You
Yes.
could sit in your pajamas on the bed, and I
Yes.
did, with
I
the
did that.
laptop on my lap in my bed every day, working like this with my pajamas. It was so funny. Then I had to
I
start coming, I was like, I miss faces, I miss people. So at least now I'm half dressed. Still got pajamas on the bottom, but at least the half top half
at
is
least you got
right.
pajamas on.
Well, I imagine, back in the
So,
earlier days of us doing these online lessons, parents were, they still are, but they were a lot more heavily involved because the technology was newer, right? And the
Right.
requirements
mhm.
of the parents were a little bit more involved to help the kids, support the kids, be able to get it done and understand the technology. But now that pretty much a toddler knows how to run a smartphone that's more high powered than some of our tablets,
But with the
what
younger
what
kids,
role do you think parents should be playing in their online education?
active at the beginning when we are at the beginning of classes, I think that the parents should be active. I allow parents to sit there if they want. Don't interrupt. Don't correct the kids. Don't, because your child will depend on you for answers. But a lot of my
Right.
kids that come to me start at 3 to 5 years old.
Mhm.
And probably for the first year or so, the parent is sitting beside them. And soon the kid's going to get relaxed and is going to understand what is expected in the class. And they're going to push mom and dad away. At the beginning, it's the normalization period. And for some younger kids, especially when you see 3 years old, I would rather mom or dad somewhere near because I've had them jump and I'm not physically there. For their safety reasons, they should always have somebody nearby.
I've
In
seen
my
with
respect, until they're at least
thr
8.
sometimes with the three, because I have some that young, sometimes with the 3-year-old, you're going to get 5 minutes of teaching and 25 minutes of them putting on giant sunglasses and dancing in front of the camera. That's all you're going to
But
get if you don't
that's
have
my
mom or dad there to stop it, because you're not going to be able to stop it.
But the problem with that, you have to understand, if the reason it's called kindergarten in
Mhm.
German is because it's play garden. For kids, that's how they learn dancing,
Right.
singing, using their hands. A lot of people
Right.
don't realize that, but that's exactly how they
Oh,
learn
Mhm.
when they're the
singing.
pre-readers like that in preschool, maybe early kindergarten, we actually do a lot of fun and games in my classes as well. It's all about,
I
the
think I
fun
do it up
learnings.
until like 11. Even I'm like up until 11. We won't say how old but I did my candy
Oh no,
this weekend.
I've got a couple kids who want to start with a song. I'm like, all right.
It's
Eh,
normalization. Everything should start with a song and end with a song. I'm like, brain breaks. I don't even use the songs only now. It's the brain breaks, and there's a lot of learning brain breaks from gym teachers that are really good.
I like
But
that. I do it when the
can you
kids ask.
describe a brain break? It's a lot of
A
people that
brain
don't know
break
what
would
they are.
Okay, a brain break would give a chance for the kids to have the opportunity to get that pent up energy that we need to get out of that system. Otherwise, they will not sit still. I don't care if they're 13 or they're 3. I used to in class make before brain breaks, I used to make the boys jump and I would jump with them and then just go like this till they fell down so that they could get all that energy out. So a brain break gives them a chance to get up, dance, move, dodge. It's like a Wii game. So they're active. And
Mhm.
because they're brought on, a lot of the ones that I use are brought on by educators. There's lots of educational things in them as well. Like they could be doing this or that. They have to explain why they chose this or that. Or you can see it with the actions and you can do it with groups easy because they're doing an action to show their answers.
Okay.
But it just gives them a chance to get that energy out. And online, you definitely need it more than regular classes. We don't really move that much.
So are you talking about students who are doing full school online, or because like some of us are only doing after school tutoring, and in a 25-minute setting, a lot of parents are not going to understand this concept.
Two songs after, yeah. I'm telling you, I do this with even students in Asia where their parents are very strict with education
Mhm.
and their kids love it. And their kids are speaking and mom and dad are dancing with them. When you sing, you learn English,
Mhm.
you learn enunciation, you learn movement, you learn the speed of our language. And when these kids are doing brain breaks, I've got a 5-year-old, he barely can speak English, but he'll sing every lyric of the song because sometimes I forget to put the music on and he's still singing the whole song until after his dad tells me there's no music. And he's doing it word for word.
Hmm.
And I'm like shocked. And that's at native level speed and pace. Because that's another thing that they do with the ESL students. They talk like this. Then when they
Right.
go to America or they go to Europe, they don't know what anyone is saying because
Right.
I don't do that. I call that a disservice. And when parents ask me to slow down, my response immediately is, do you speak your own language slow?
Right.
And
Yeah.
I
I
can
speak my normal pace
slow,
always in class. I
slower than
always
normal a
have.
little. Yeah.
So what can parents do to create a productive learning environment at home
Mm.
with their online lessons?
Schedule.
Schedule?
Mostly is having a really good curriculum or building something based on their interest and having schedules. Like Nicole mentioned, they may have several kids in the same house. The way I look at it is I'm a pioneer. Little House on the Prairie. That schoolhouse had kindergarten to grade 12. We can figure it out. If they did it for so many years before, we can do it now. There's a way to do it. Kids have different level readers, different level books, different types of activities. It can be done all at the same time. It just
I'm
takes poor
talking,
mom some prep.
yeah, I'm talking more about like the environment. Okay. So we want them in a quiet space, right? Without
Each child
the
in a different room.
thank you. What about twins? Do you ever teach twins where their mom wants to put them
Oh,
both in
they
front?
push. No, 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 no. They like to push. They will fight over the space. It's
Right,
sibling rivalry. It's called
right,
sibling rivalry.
right.
It's very common.
Yeah.
They will push each other. They will fight over who gets to answer first. So I've had twins, but they were it was really funny. They were in like right next to each other, but
Uh-huh.
like a door in between, so at least you could close, but then they would come and pop back and forth. But at least mom knew. Put them on
Right.
different devices on different sides of the room
Different
and
rooms.
separate them.
Yes. That,
If you have 5 kids, you may not have 5 rooms
right. Or five devices.
or
Or
five
five devices.
devices.
Right. Now, I was making some notes before this, and one thing that I always push is for students to wear headphones. What do you think? Are you for or against that, or you don't care, or do you
If
think
they're in a
it's
group,
not really important?
they need headphones if they're in a group. One-on-one, maybe. It depends on where they're taking their lessons. If it's in a quiet
Mhm.
room, then they don't need the headphones because it's a quiet room. But if
Right.
they're surrounded by noise, it's better for everybody that they have headphones
Okay. Very
because it
good.
becomes too distractive for everybody else that's in the group if there's background noise.
What you got, Nicole?
Oh, I'm just listening. I'm sorry. Um, so uh what's your favorite tip for parents of single and multiple children? What's your favorite tip to give them to help their children online?
Support them. And accept your children for who they are. Not every child is going to be that child that's going to be sit and look at the screen. People pay attention different ways, they learn different ways. And I had to explain this to a parent recently. Her child had a habit of during classes always going like this and moving around. And I said, doesn't mean that they're not paying attention.
Right.
And she said, what do you mean? I said, because different people learn different ways, and usually the most active ones are highly intelligent. And I've learned this in my years, and my brother was exactly the same way. He was very hyper, and they took it as, oh, he doesn't pay attention, he doesn't learn. They tested and found out he was 2 years higher than everybody else in class. He was bored.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Um, so what can parents do to, maybe in combination with the teacher to help keep the kids motivated?
Reward systems.
In what
Yeah,
Uh,
ways?
yeah,
they can earn things. They can earn a privilege. They can earn maybe watching a movie they want to see. It doesn't have to involve something with money. Going to the place they want to go. Maybe a dinner that they choose, not what we choose for them, something that they want. So there can be a lot of things that that child may have different, will spend time together. That's the
yeah,
most requested thing every child wants, is to have that quality time with a parent. That could be that time that you take them out for hot chocolate, just you and them. You take them out to the park, just you and them, especially if you have multiples, so that child will still feel special in your, and and those are the memories. Build memories more than physical things. Physical things, everybody can just give it to them. But
yeah. I've never been a big believer in giving monetary rewards for grades or anything like that. I just think money is a very poor motivator. Um, but I think that extra time with mom and dad is very effective. But I hate to, even I'm a parent also. I hate to dangle time with me like a carrot reward. I hate to dangle that. How do I get around that?
no, you don't. You just talk about it. It'll be their special activity, something that they like to do with you. It's not dangling time. You're still going to always spend quality time with them, but usually you're going to be the decision maker. So on that Saturday, it'll be their decision. So it's not
You,
dangling something like they never are going to have anyway. But
you
I can tell you
realize
right now,
you're signing me up for an afternoon of Minecraft, right?
oh well, hey, I had Counter-Strike with my son, and I just shot him and me and everybody. I was the worst Counter-Strike player in the world, but I tried to learn. SS
What?
Tricky,
I have to.
I tried.
Right,
Well, speaking
for
of that
Yeah,
sure.
quality time, how would you say, so we live in an extremely highly
fast-paced.
fast-paced, instant gratitude, online digital world. It's almost to the point where kids have gotten almost addicted to the instant gratification. So how do parents balance the world we live in online with the offline world to give them that balance?
They have to. Unfortunately, as parents, it just makes your life a lot tougher and harder because you're going to have to learn to unplug as well. And you're going to have to learn to go outside with the kids. You can't just tell the kids to go outside, yet you're sitting behind your device and working or talking, or you have to do the same thing. It can't be just like, okay, this time no more phones. It means everybody's phone goes there, it gets locked up, and tomorrow we'll see our devices. So I just think that they're gonna learn by modeling it, not by saying it. Even though in the 70s, do what I say, not what I do. But they really learn it better if you do model it. So
I actually like that you said this because this is a big frustration of mine and with a lot of and parents don't see this where we're actually all at the table on our device, parents included, right? Well, we're all sitting in the same living room together watching a movie, but half of us have our devices and we're looking for stuff and doing. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I have run 2, 3 businesses. I use my device like nonstop. I have to actually physically remember to flip it off, turn it off, put it down.
I
Otherwise,
I
I won't
learned
do it.
to I learned to plug my device with next to my computer, because when it's next to my head, it's so easy to check the email. It's so easy to get lost in conversations. You both know it. Your families are on the other side of the world. So when we're asleep and they're up, and we're up and they're asleep. So if you catch them at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you're like, oh, when you just start talking, you're like, oh my God, it's 5. I gotta go to work. So
Right.
I've learned to take the device and turn it upside down, which is my favorite thing, is to turn it upside down. It's never on. Everybody that calls me is always like, you didn't answer. I'm like, I'll never turn my phone on. I'm not ever going to be a slave to the device. It's not going to run me that way. Yes, I have to take it with me for emergencies, maybe, but it's not going to be the slave that is always going beep, 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 beep. So I look at it. So I
That's,
think,
I've had parents ask me, what's the difference between our kids and American kids? And I hit them right. I said, they don't communicate well. They don't understand how to interact socially. And I think that's because of the difference in the learning environments in the school systems. I don't know. That's just
that's
my theory.
that. No, you're 100% right, Jay. I've been saying this for 27 years. ESL is taught completely wrong in the school systems. They're
Mhm.
taught to speak, read, do
Read,
grammar,
read,
but
not
don't
speak,
have an
read.
opinion. Don't have
Right,
an opinion because there's 25 of you in the class and I'm not going to deal with 25 of you. And
right.
it's accepted everywhere that teaches ESL. I've taught in Lebanon, I've taught in other countries, and it's so accepted that the kids are spoon-fed. They're not taught critical thinking skills. This
Right.
is what my group classes are, critical life thinking skills. You can't, all right, so you can read. Do you know how to use the words?
Do you know what it
Even in my
means?
stories,
Do
even
you
in the
know what you
stories,
read? Yeah,
you learn 5 words, now use them. And my kids that have been with me can make stories out of the 5 words. Other kids barely can make a sentence with the
right.
5 words. This is critical thing. You have to give them that time. This creative part has been taken out of a lot of our programs too. I'm growing up, we had a lot of creativity in
Mhm.
class. We had music, we had all of
Art.
the music lessons, art. It's gone. And this is what I had to put back into my stories.
Brenda, thank you so much for being here today. It was an amazing conversation. You gave us such a wealth of information and you really busted that myth for us. We've really learned that online education is just as successful, if not more, when done properly and when parents and teachers really work together. I love what you're doing with this curriculum aspect. This is going to really just blow it out of the water. And I am so excited to see where you take this. Where hopefully we'll have you back and we can really talk some more about that because I think that is just really going to knock it out of the park for a lot of people.
I really enjoyed coming on, and you and Jay have got something really, really great here. I like the relaxed atmosphere, putting everybody at ease, getting directly to the questions and busting those myths, especially relating to education that people really don't understand that we can. And I loved your view because you're both a mom and a teacher, so
Oh,
it gives us that little bit of insight, and dad and a teacher too.
I know
Yeah,
we
I'm not a
all
mom.
we're all part of those different sides, right? I think it's really gives a interesting dynamic with all of us being on the parent side, the teacher side, and the business side. I love how we're kind of trying to merge all those together so everybody can really understand where each of us are coming from. And I think that's part of the divide online is, the parents don't understand the teachers don't understand the parents, and nobody understands how the business is working as well. And it really is, everybody needs to really come together and support each other to give the student the best education they can
Definitely.
have. We're so happy to have you today. We're excited to have you back, especially as you develop this curriculum that's really going, I think it's going to really make a huge difference with these online classes and make them just
Yeah.
something
We've
that's
done
really
3.
fun. And this really goes into our next podcast where we're going to be talking about supporting children's learning styles. Every child learns a little bit differently, and having the curriculum and the support behind it for those different styles and being able to recognize them, I think is what really parents struggle with, and teachers as well, when teachers don't know how to recognize those differences. So we're going to be talking about that in our next podcast. So I really love that you brought this up already and we're starting that conversation. So thank you so much for
Definitely.
joining us today. We love it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Brenda.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
I
so
owe
And
you
much.
one.
No, you don't.
Only one.
Only one. It's okay.
Only
here.
one?